Hi, Dr. Peterson. So I've spent a lot of time in the last week trying to nail down a question, which is, it's interesting because you were just talking about having too many choices and really a good thing. It's exactly that at this point. But I think I got it down to this, and that is, on your recent podcast with Sam Harris, the second of which was really good, the first of which I thought was still pretty good, but a lot of people seem to not enjoy it.
Including me.
I think, yeah. I think if I could sum up sort of your ideas behind the Bible and religious texts and that, it would be that there's great wisdom to be extracted from those texts. And like a great example is the flood myth that you always talk about and how that repeats itself over time. And my question is, following from that, do you think that the concepts of heaven and hell are strictly earthly concepts, or what does that mean in that context?
No, I don't think they are. But I don't know enough about it to say much more than that. I mean, those are questions that sort of, they exceed the competence of anyone. They exceed the competence of anyone. I mean, yeah, sure. No wonder you spent a week thinking up that question. I think that you can get glimpses of heaven and glimpses of hell. I think that you can see people who live in hell. You can walk down the street and see them. For them, it's eternal, because their pain is so overwhelming that it feels like it will last forever. It's also something that can engulf everyone, and has. Is there a metaphysical reality to it beyond that? I suspect so, but I don't know. I think that the heaven-like experiences that people have are pointers to the way that things could be. And we don't know how things could be if we really got our acts together. We don't know. You know, we spend a lot of time in our fallen condition, wasting time, being resentful, working counterproductively, producing hatred, hurting other people, and cursing fate itself. And even doing all that, we've managed to make societies that are pretty functional and decent. If we spent 100% of our time working towards the good, instead of 50% of our time, or perhaps 51%, God only knows what we could bring about. And the sky's the limit. And then once we reach the limit of the sky, there's a sky beyond that would then be the limit, and so on and so forth. And so I think that heaven exists and that we could produce it, but we're not going to do that by changing the behavior of other people. And so it exists as a possibility. Both maybe heaven and hell exist as possibilities. They exist as potential. But you know, we also believe in the existence of potential, even though it doesn't exist. So someone would say to you, for example, you're not living up to your potential. And you know what that means, and you're willing to regard it as a genuine statement that reflects something fundamentally real. Maybe there's nothing more real about you than your potential, strangely enough. Well, so heaven and hell are potentials, but that doesn't mean they're not real. And I think it's incumbent on people to work as hard as they can, not to fall into hell and to drag people there with them, and to work as diligently as possible to bring heaven onto earth as rapidly as we can. And I think that that's the sort of thing also that gives your life meaning, and you can start with trying to straighten things up around yourself that you can straighten up. It's a good way to begin, and you can do it. You can do it today. You know, if Carl Jung said that modern people do not see God because they don't look low enough. And I like that. It's like the injunction to not pray in public. Go home. Fix up the things you can fix up. Get good at it and see what you can bring about. And if enough people did that, God only knows what we could produce, man. Who knows? Like, what are the limitations of a human being? We have no idea. We keep transcending our limitations constantly. So, heaven, hell, and hell are at least real as potential, and that's pretty damn real.
Thank you so much, Dr. Peterson.